Hi, today I just wanted to talk about Like Vanessa, which is a middle grade book by Tami Charles, and the publisher is Charles Bridge. But before I start, I just wanted to talk about, this kind of overwhelming trend in middle grade that is about friendship and loneliness. And I've just noticed, because I've been reading a lot of middle grade lately, how there's just like an overwhelming number of stories about a girl who is losing her best friend because the friend is kind of trading up on the popularity social ladder, and she has nobody. And the whole book is about how she's struggling socially because her friend has deserted her. And I feel like there is a place for that kind of story because that certainly happens, but I just don't think it happens with the frequency that I see in middle grade, which makes it feel like every single girl in middle grade experiences that. And I have to say, like, in general, I'm not even sure if that is the typical norm for middle grade girl relationships, because like we're in my school system, we have elementary school that goes through fifth grade, and then we have four elementary schools that feed into middle school, which goes 6 through 8, and then it feeds into the high school. And so in sixth grade, there's always this, influx of new kids. A lot of times in my elementary school, my kids' friends, sometimes quite a few, sometimes just a small amount, they'll go to private school. So my kids will lose some friends, not as friends, but just as kids they see in school because they're no longer at the same school. But then there's so many kids coming in that there's a lot of opportunity to meet new friends, and there's kids are looking to meet new friends, and there's more of an opportunity to find kids that have more similar interests, and the friendships are defined by really coincidental similarities. Like, for example, they happen to have a lot of classes together. In our elementary school, in our middle school, they're split up into usually 4 teams. So if you're not on the same team, they're not in your class. Although you might see them on the bus or you might see them at lunch. And also, friendships are defined by extracurricular activities. So kids who play on the same soccer team will have more chances to spend together because usually they're carpooling, or kids who run cross country track at the middle school team, friendships will form from that, or kids who take art classes together. And I think, like, what I've noticed from my 2 daughters and even myself, and I was like this super nerdy kid in middle school, not popular at all by any stretch, is that basically the friendships, you have sort of a cluster, and the friendships shift. A lot of times in middle school, I notice the friendships get smaller. So like sixth grade, it starts off, sort of like survival. Everyone makes a ton of, meets a ton of new people, and they kind of hang out in a large group. And then as the years go by, 7th grade, 8th grade, the groups get smaller, and people float in and out as new interests are defined. Like, kids who do musical theater or drama at school, not only does that take a ton of time, but that usually defines a lot of their friendships. Or kids who sing, or kids who play instruments, who are in band or orchestra. It's just, it's normal. I guess it's normal life. Your activities and what you're doing with your time defines your friendships. And so what I like about Like Vanessa, which I'm finally getting to it, thank you for being so patient, is that first of all, like, this book is set in the projects of Newark, New Jersey, which is a pretty tough place, and where Tami Charles herself grew up, because I had seen her speak at the Coily Conference. And by the way, she's so funny and lovely and down to earth. I just really loved her. And so even in the setting, like, you have a really upbeat story, and even though this is pretty urban inner city, as tough as it gets, it isn't presented as depressing or even horribly dangerous, but still it's full of love and life. And her family is not a textbook perfect family, but there's still a lot of love. Her grandfather who lives with them, and she's the first to say, like, it's modeled after her own grandfather, who was drunk a lot of the time, but like was sober on the weekends for church. And sober or drunk, he was still a loving person and gave her, just, made her feel very special. And so this book is about, her being inspired by the real Vanessa Williams winning the beauty pageant, and then going on her own, deciding to compete as well. And there is a friendship issue. Like, she has a best friend who is, more into sports. And so that friendship, she feels like, is slipping away. But it isn't like it's slipping away and then she's just sort of struggling, trying to figure out what to do. I mean, just like in life, she has other things that keep her busy, other friends that float in, friends that are frenemies. She has her cousin that lives with them, who's a little bit older, but also is a friend. And so, I mean, I just want to say that this is such a great book because it's it has a lot of, more about really what happens in life, not this sort of, I'm going to write a story because I think, all friendships are, one best friend and then that friend's gone, and my book will focus on kind of some strange things that they do, when they're looking for a friend. This feels really more steeped in reality. And it also, and because of that, it rings more true, and it has a lot more, moments of things that feel both good and bad. It just feels like, it's a story that kids can relate to, you know what I mean? Because it's not just something that just feels like someone just made it up. Like, this feels like this is her life, or this is a real person that you actually would know. And at the end, there is a little bit, a slight bit of tragedy and violence that doesn't happen to her, but to, people in her neighborhood. And there's 4 warnings for that because, it is a gang-ridden, dangerous neighborhood that she lives in. But overall, the story is of hope and, sort of this family that is close but has some, sadness and some untold explanations of what happened to her mother that gets revealed. And then you see the father in a new light because he's sort of portrayed in one light. And as the story unfolds, you kind of understand where he's coming from. And so anyway, I can't recommend this book highly enough. I would say it's for ages 10 and up. But if you have a kid who's mature and likes realistic, especially when the realism is something that they're not familiar with, like my middle child really liked that, then even someone 9 years old, who's mature, they would like this as well. So anyway, thank you so much for watching.